the land that I keep very, very, very close to my heart. Today I'm going to talk about Tuscia with a very, very good friend of mine. Giulia, good evening. How are you?
I'm fine. Hello, Giulio.
Giulia, in a second, you have to tell us about your recent trip to Nebraska, but we are lucky. We are going to have a couple of people with us today. Our common friend, Roy Effner from Villa San Giovanni in Tuscia. Hey, Roy.
Hi.
And from Georgia, from the Will, Dave, and Eric podcast, Eric Effner. Eric, good evening. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I
Thank you
am
for having
super.
me.
Thank you so very much. So, guys, Giulia has been on a mission for Tuscia in Fiore, and she decided to jump across the ocean and tell everybody about Tuscia. Giulia, please tell us a little more. What's going on?
Yeah, what is going on now is absolutely beyond any my expectations, because here people are so friendly, really, and this is the authentic America. I've never been to the Midwest before, so this is a new experience for me. So I have so many things to share with people when I get back, because I'm think lived here more than, I don't know, maybe a couple of years. You know what I mean? So it's just a few days I'm here, but I have the feeling that I have lived here for maybe a couple of years, because every day is so full of activities, experiences, and many people really that want to meet me, and I am so really honored to meet them. And they want to come to Italy, of course, but to Tuscia. And I discovered that here in Nebraska, people are so close, really, to our nature, because they love to explore villages that are a little bit of the many touristic track, you know what I mean? So they want to just visit small villages and have fun with the local people, and stay with the community. And the most important thing I want to share with you right now is the fact that here the sense of a community is so strong. And I learned so many things that I want really to put into work when I get back home. And so I met many communities. And we should really learn in Tuscia, I mean, some of the values they have here in the United States, because they are so strong and so important. And yes, I'm bringing here, bring here Tuscia in Fiore, also my association, but I will take to Italy a lot of values that I really accomplished here, and I'm so proud about.
One question, Giulia, for you. We have two friends, Eric and Roy. One is in Tuscia in in Italy, and one is in America, and he says he wants to go, right? So my question for you is that your impression that there are only two types of America? Those that went in Italy and those that want to go in Italy. Is that correct?
Yes, it is correct. Absolutely. Yeah. And of course, Roy is really a great friend. I mean, we share a lot together. And Eric, yes, we had such a beautiful experience here in Italy, and we are in touch. We are good friends, and I'm so happy to share now this moment with you all, guys.
Very good, Giulia. Let's ask our friend first. Let me get a moment to introduce both of them. First, Roy. Roy, let's say, am I going to say right when love brought you to Tuscia and then you discovered a place where you like to live? Is that right?
Well, love in the sense that I married an Italian. And the village that I live in, Villa San Giovanni in Tuscia, is Rita's mother's ancestral village. So that's why I ended up here. And but I love being here in the Tuscia area. When I came, of course, I didn't know what Tuscia meant. And so over the last 12 years that I've been here, of course, I've learned how important this area is in the history of Italy, and how fantastic it is. And really for from a tourism point of view, a very unknown place. So anything that I can do to get Americans to come here and see what I call the real Italy. I call this the real Italy. You know, we've had many people come visit us, and of course they go to Florence and Venice and Rome and Milan, and those are great cities. But I don't think that's the real Italy. The real Italy is right here in Tuscia. So,
Roy, we couldn't agree more. Let me ask the same question to Eric. Eric, I want to introduce you as the son of Roy, and a potential Tuscia lover. You have been there and you had a little taste. Am I correct so far?
That's correct. Yes.
So tell us a little bit more about your podcast. It's very interesting and it's kind of new thing for Italy. So please tell us a few words.
So just real quick, because it's not about my podcast, it's about talking about Tuscia. During the pandemic, my friend and my son and I, we of course were stuck at home, and we wanted to make some fun and some light out of a bad situation, and looked at it as an opportunity, and we started learning how to podcast, and so we brought our podcast to life, and we're seeing some success, and we'll see where it goes, just for fun.
Fun is great. You know what, you guys, I want to talk about one. Oh, you have a guest.
this is Sophia. She's a Tuscan cat.
Killer
So
cat.
cute.
Fantastic. So I wanna chat for a second with you guys about something that appears to be mysterious when I'm in Italy, and then when I interact with American friends, it's obvious, right? So the definition of having fun, you know? In Italy, unfortunately, we work because we have to. We don't do what we love, so we don't go to work one day in our life, right? So in fact, Eric, as soon as you start talking, you say, you know, this is just for fun. We're having good time, right? And I'm hoping that is a great fun for Julia to go to Nebraska, talk about Tuscia, right? So can you guys tell us a little bit more of this deep concept that is part of the American culture, which I love, that you actually can go through life having a good time. Is that right, Eric? Take a shot.
Yeah. So here's my take on it is that it doesn't matter what country you're in. You work hard, and you got to make the worst, what seems like a bad day, you have to make it into an opportunity and not demise. And I don't think a lot of people think like that, but I think a lot of Americans like to have fun, but can't afford to. Just like you said, they go to work because they have to. And I do too. I go to work because I have to. I have to make money, and I have to live and feed my family. But at the same time, you got to take time and find the opportunities that make you happy, you know, and enjoy. You have to enjoy life.
Roy, maybe you have a special point of view. You lived your life in America, and now that you're a grown up, you are in Villa San Giovanni, where life has a different speed. What do you think? People from Italy, people from Villa San Giovanni, do they understand they need to have fun?
Well, no, not the kind of fun that I was used to. I lived in New York City and in Chicago, you know, two of the largest cities in the country. So I'm an urbanite, and I had a lot of fun. And fun being going out to restaurants and nightclubs and bars and hanging out with, in my case, hanging out with wonderful women, because I like women. I don't particularly care for men. So I've always liked enjoying being in women's companies. And in my case, I had a lot of fun, probably too much fun, you know. And being here in Italy is quite, particularly in the village, is quite different. I've only been to one party in 12 years where I had what I consider fun, you know, like a really good time. Like, yeah, we drink and, you know, not that, you know, I go to people's houses, but it's quite different here. Like, for instance, a big difference between Italians, at least the Italians that I know, and the Americans that I know, is that Italians really don't drink. You know, they don't drink alcohol. You know, their idea of, you know, is drinking a little bit of wine with dinner, but they never sit around. I've never really seen a drunk person, you know, in all the time I've been here. So my days of doing that are over. So I don't miss it. But
I don't know if we can agree.
But people here, when I may go to a party which I think is boring, the Italians that are there, they don't think it's boring. They think it's normal and it's a good time, and they enjoy it, and they enjoy the conversation. They don't have to get drunk and act silly, you know. But the idea of fun is different here, that's for sure.
New York is another universe, Roy. There is no question about it.
Now, I'm sure it's different in Rome. If you live in Rome and you have some money in your pocket to spend, there's probably people down there having a lot of what I consider fun. But
so one question that I want to ask Giulia, going along with what Roy just said, you know, the concept of fun for American is so different, particularly because I think the Americans are instinctively open. When you arrive to a place, particularly if there is some alcohol, but not necessarily, people are very happy to welcome you in their life, versus we tend to be a little closed. We are not open to the new people, even though Roy and Eric like us, thank God, and the Americans like us, thank God. But I don't think we're that open. What do you think, Giulia?
I think that Italians love Americans. We are always open with Americans. Sometimes we are not so open with other Italians. That's my opinion, okay? Particularly in our area, of course, because of our history, maybe we didn't have the chance to be so international. So we tend to be more, you know, not isolated is another right word maybe, but okay, maybe we take a little bit before build a strong relationship and be open. But I have an idea that I have been inviting Americans in Tuscia for so long. Maybe I started doing that 15 years ago. And Americans, when they came here, they were so welcomed by any of my friends. And my friends were so happy to share their lives with them. And they were all very, very open. Sometimes it's different, maybe if some other Italians come here, because they are, you know, ordinary Italian, just like us, so they are not something special, you know. So I don't know if I were answered to your questions, but I think, yes, we should be more, you know, open to other people who come to visit us. We should improve a little bit the way we welcome tourists. We are not so get used to receive tourists in Tuscia, because our area, fortunately, is the best kept secret in Italy. That means it's a place that needs to be discovered more. So somehow this is a value. But the flip side of this is the fact that maybe we are not so ready to welcome people, because we are not used to do that very often, you know what I mean? So yes. Maybe in the future, because Tuscia is really gaining so much all around the world, because now my experience, people are so happy to come and to discover Tuscia, and many other people will come with the festival. And I suppose maybe in a couple of years we will be famous, okay? Not like Florence, but maybe, okay, like other cities in Italy that have fortune all around the world. So we will be maybe open, we will be more international. We are not international in Italy.
I'm sure we can. I'm sure we are not international. Eric, a question for you. So you are an American, right?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
So when you think Italy, what do you think for real? We have Roy that has been living in Tuscia, and of course Julia is from Tuscia. So let's verify if your dream or perception of Italy is what actually we experience once we're there. What is it for you?
All right. So a good example is my wife. She bought I can't remember his last name, Steve. I call it Steve Jobs, but it's not. I just make fun of it. It's a book about tourism, and it talks about Rome and all the places, the typical places everyone goes to, and I don't really care for them. Not that I don't care for the cities themselves. I don't care for traveling long distances in a car and going to look at something for 5 minutes and moving on to something else. I like to take my time. I want to experience something and not move fast from place to place. And so we did that. But then the last time we went to Italy, we slowed down and we really enjoyed ourselves. I mean, couldn't ask for a better experience. There was a band in the circle of the town, and everybody was out in their seats. It just reminded me of an old school block party that we used to have in the United States, that there's no way you could ever do that here. And there's no way a community would ever come out together like that and sit down with one another and enjoy their company. The other thing that I really enjoyed about not traveling all over Italy was the fact that, we were able to be at my dad's place, have friends, sit down, eat dinner, and enjoy the company of one another and experience each other. And that's what you don't get, because you can it doesn't matter what country you travel to. You go to Paris, you're going to see the Eiffel Tower, and you're going to go, see all the tourist traps. But you're not going to go out to the countryside and experience what the true people are like. And that's what I think you're trying to get after. And that's the same in the United States. It's like here, you're not going to come to Portal, Georgia on vacation, but if you did, you come out to a farm and stay, and it's peaceful, and then you get to experience people. So I think it's pretty similar.
So Roy, would you think Eric got the idea?
Well, he did. He when he left here this past summer, at that moment, he said it was the best vacation of his life. I'm sure he's had some pretty good vacations in his life, but the reason is all we did was hang out around here. Now, what people don't know is there's dozens of little cities and towns and villages to go see. We hung out at the ocean. We go. It's very easy to go over to the ocean. There's many ancient monuments and sites here. So there's plenty to do here if you want something to do. If you don't want something to do, you just want to hang out like this time Eric did, that's what you can do. And it's a great place to hang out. I mean, one of the things that I like about being here is the weather is really fantastic. I mean, the Romans weren't stupid people. They didn't put their capital up in the Alps. They put it down here in the big coast. But there's plenty to do here in Tuscia. That's the thing. If you want to do it, if you don't, then just hanging out. But as I said before, and I've said many times, what Eric found was that this is the real Italy. He made the first time they came, they did the usual Pisa, Florence, Venice, and they didn't really enjoy it. I mean, it's not. That's a whole different type of tourism. Coming to Tuscia is a different type of tourism. I think if I was looking for people to come here, it would be the group that's already been to Italy and done that, the 5-city tour, and now come back and see the real Italy. This is the real Italy. That's all, and I keep saying it. But this is what it's all about. my little village, San Giovanni is, I think there's 60 community, Viterbo, but
That's right.
we're we're the smallest physically and one of the smallest in population. But boy, during the summer, forget the virus, but when there's no virus going around, there's plenty going on in these villages, plenty.
Yep.
You can't have a better time than going to a Sagra. No American knows what a Sagra is, but Sagra is a really good time. And every summer, every village has, one or more Sagras, and so anyway, there's plenty to do here in Italy-Tuscia.
I'm sure you guys agree that whatever we consider normal, like Sagra, is not normal all over the world. And I want to point two things. One, that feeling that Eric was talking about, that after dinner you just hang out, you just talk, you just get to know people. That is a very unique experience. I was lucky enough to travel the world, America, Japan, Italy, and I can tell that there is a level of warmth in our personality, natural, nobody does anything about it, that is just spectacular, and that's great. But at the same time, there is a significant cultural difference, and I would like to hear Julia's approach about this. When Eric and Roy say hanging out, for them is great, it's the best part of the trip. For us, unfortunately, it could be the boring part of the trip because we always hang out. We meet up for coffee. We meet up for aperitivo. We meet up for dinner. We meet up for the pizza. We are always socializing versus in America, this is not the standard. Is that correct? Does it sound right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Julia, you get to hang out in America these days. How do you see the difference between our life and their life in terms of hanging out?
So so since I've been married, and then while I was in the Army, one of the things that was important in our military culture was knowing other families. And so we didn't ever go to the bars and we always lived in rural towns. And so we didn't go to bars and all that. So we had people come over, eat dinner, and we spent the night talking. And so since we left the military, we have not had that. And so when we went back to Italy and we had the 2 times that we've been, we had both dinners and it was fantastic. It was great. And so it's not just hanging out, it's enjoying the moment, it's enjoying the company. And I think if you've got to change the way you think about it, is that people, it's like my dad said, invite the people back that have already done the 5-city tour, but you have to be willing to hang out with them, so it might be a little boring for you at first, but meeting new people, I never think is boring. I think it's always fun getting to know them.
No, Eric, I might have misspoke. For Julia and I, it's never boring. We enjoy the company of you guys tremendously. Right, Julia? Do you agree?
Yes, that's never boring. Never boring. No. Of course.
So, Julia, what do you think? Do we understand what is this hanging out? Is there a cultural difference? What do you think?
But okay, I have to tell you that maybe I'm not so much Italian in this case, because I like to stay often at home and invite people at home and have this kind of experience that I'm having here. So I want to give you an example. We went to some restaurants, of course, but the best part of this experience here is staying at home with other people and enjoying the community at home. And this is something I want to import in Italy, in my house, even more. I'll give you another example. It's beautiful. If you are in a restaurant and you are just having fun and you are having a really great time, but it's different because at home you can build a different kind of relationship with all the people are present, no? In the dinner or party or happy hour, whatever you are going to have with other people. So here they are used to introduce themselves, the people who are part of the dinner. So I said, oh my God, that's beautiful. And so I had this experience many times. So everyone who is new in the group has somehow to introduce him or herself to say something even funnier, maybe something that happened in maybe, I don't know, a few hours before, not just talking about I am this, I'm this, I'm into this, I do this. No, just introducing to share the way we are. So I like particularly to share friendship when I'm at home with my family, same with my friends. And then, of course, I like going out and enjoy restaurants, enjoy other situations. So I don't know which is the difference between Americans and Italians, but I can tell you for sure that now I have another big vision about the United States, because here they are quite different. They are closer to Italian, yeah. They are just like us, because here in the Midwest, maybe the life is lower, like in Tuscia. It's not like in New York, Chicago, or the big cities, of course. So there is not such a big difference between the Midwest, Nebraska, and Tuscia. That's my opinion.
Guys, I'm going to share a little secret. Julia is on a mission to create some ideal bridge between Tuscia and a small town in Nebraska. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm hoping that they will come and try our food. This is the first thing about a specific that I want to ask Roy. Roy, is it my impression of the extra virgin olive oil of Villa San Giovanni is fantastic?
Of course, we all say that our olive oil is the best. So every village says that. In fact, no American who hasn't been to Italy at this time of year, which is harvest time, it's just about over, has had olive oil like, real olive oil. And anybody that has, for instance, next week I'll be sending my daughter 5 liters of olive oil. Now, it costs a lot of money to ship 5 liters from here to the United States, but she's happy to pay whatever the price is. And another friend of mine that comes here quite frequently, Julie knows, Roland from Luxembourg. He's a buyer of our local oil. So the oil here is truly fantastic. And if you have it on the day it's produced, the day that the olives are picked, it's something you can't get anywhere in the world except here. But in terms of food in general, one of the great pleasures of living here is that the food here is unbelievably different than in what most Americans get. On Tuesdays, we go to a local market in Vetrala, and we buy our produce for the week or the next 2 weeks. That produce is grown by the people we buy it from. They don't go to a wholesaler and buy it. So from them, you can't buy oranges because they don't grow oranges. But you can get, for instance, we're having Thanksgiving tomorrow, and all of the food that we will have is completely fresh, from the broccoli and cauliflower and potatoes, and it's everything that we're going to be serving was grown like in the last week. So in addition, the food is unbelievably inexpensive. So one of the great positives of living here is that the food is fresh and it's inexpensive. The food that we bought on Tuesday, for instance, the produce, we paid 23 euros. that would be at least $100 in an American store, at least, if not more. And it wouldn't be
more today.
Yeah, it wouldn't be fresh.
So, one of the nice things about when we were there, we would go to the grocery store and you would, for €1, you could have a whole thing of prosciutto. You couldn't do that here. That would be $8 just for that one little pack. And so the food there, it's very, it's fantastic. It's unbelievable how fresh it is, how, we do get a little bit of that here because we are out in the country. We're not in a big city. So I do find a lot of similarities, but, our produce is, if we go to the local store here, it's from the farmers around where we live, but it's not as good and it's not as fresh as what we found when we went to Viterbo.
Yeah, Eric doesn't live in. He lives in the real America. He lives in a town that's smaller than Villa San Giovanni, but that's very unusual. 80% of the population of the United States lives in cities, so that's not it. The one thing that Eric liked is that Eric is a fantastic cooker of meats on grills, and he's really well known. He's won contests for cooking, barbecuing, and so he had the experience of cooking ribs one year when he was here and cooking steaks this year. And I think he thinks the meat here is unbelievably different in the United States.
That's fantastic.
So. Well, one thing I want to share, and this will bring us a little closer to Tuscia. Of course, Tuscia has been I don't know, full of people throughout history in the last 3,000 years. And I'm sure that people simply adapted to whatever it was there. For example, the olive oil that comes out is very good because it's very good, not because they do anything about it, right? And in other area, maybe a lentil, or another place, garlic and so forth, it's whatever comes best. And that was a sort of selection, natural selection, the survival of the fittest, so to say, no? Versus in America, Eric, you can tell me, agriculture means, there is a big land where, things are done in a commercial, scientific way to maximize production, this and that, but it's not what comes out of it in the best possible fashion.
That's correct. That's correct, because, we do have so much more land and we do have so many more people to feed. But where I live, it's not like the Great Plains of the United States where there's hundreds and thousands of acres. It's not like Texas where there's ranches that are 200,000 acres. We live in a very smaller, kind of gentler rural area. So I do really kind of like it to where my dad lives and Tuscia is, and I've really found the people to be kind of similar, actually.
Yeah.
So that's why I think it was real easy for me the last time I went, and why I said it was the greatest vacation I've ever had, was because it was very similar to being at home, but with a slightly different varnish.
Well, one thing we have to remember from what Erica said, and this is for Julia, for myself, and for Roy, people like to come and hang out. We need to hang out with them. So let's take our life a little bit less seriously than we usually do. Let's not run from point A to point B, and let's spend time with them. But even though I kind of wanted you guys to talk about places, I feel I have to show at least one place today. And maybe we get Roy's comment and Eric's question about it. So let's look at this place in particular. Do you guys know this place?
Yes.
Eric, you have been there?
I have, and I took a drone picture. It looks kind of like that, but there wasn't the fog.
Yeah. So, Roy, how do you feel about this place? How is Bagnoregio? Civita di Bagnoregio?
Oh, when I first came here, it was fantastic, and because it was what it is supposed to be, which is an abandoned city, and today it's still fantastic. It's however, it's the local people have figured out how to commercialize it a little bit, but so for me, it's. But anyway, Bonareggio is fantastic, and it's really what I think that Americans think of when they think of a quaint Italian city. But Tuscia is filled with these types of cities. I mean, there's dozens of very picturesque villages in this area. But Bonareggio, it's when people come to visit. Of course, I always take them. I have a little day tour that I do. I go to Montefiascone, which of course is fantastic. We then go to Bolsena, the lake on the city and the lake of Bolsena, and then we go to Bonareggio, and it's a beautiful day trip. You couldn't have a better day than going to those three places.
Eric, Roy, sorry, let me test you and Julia actually, because as you said, there are many places in Italy that are as spectacular and so forth. For example, do you guys know where is this one?
Let me see. Hold on. I got to put my glasses on for this.
I don't think any of you guys will know. I personally discovered it a couple of days ago.
The only things like I gotta. It's like a trick question, right?
No. It's just one of those little places that has a fantastic building, a palazzo. As this
is it Bolsena?
Nope. No, it's Julia, you cannot know. It's impossible. It's impossible. There is this woman, Silvia Eusepi. She's probably listening to us live. She's from a place called Bassano Romano, and there is a villa called Villa Giustiniani that has this beauty inside, and on the back has Giardini all'Italiana, these fantastically well-organized gardens and so forth. But I brought out this one because Roy mentioned, Bagnoregio is one of those places where Americans think this is the way it is. Well, yes, and much more. Not only dying cities that are virtually with no inhabitants, but also incredibly beautiful corner like this one. My guess is this has something to do with Renaissance, but I personally never been. I didn't even know you existed till a few days ago because I needed something for Bassano. And this is what I want to ask you guys. So yes, hanging out for sure, great food for sure. But I guarantee you that out of the 60 county that Roy was mentioning before, very likely 55 of them have incredible, nice jewels hidden somewhere. So I really think Julia should take this one. Julia, am I exaggerating?
No, you are not exaggerating. I do agree.
Tell us something else you like very much that is little known.
Oh, okay. For instance, my village, San Martino al Cimino.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful, gorgeous. Yes, I'm so proud about my village. And there are many others. Because any village is unique. So we can't say it is beautiful, so go there and then you have seen Italy or you have seen Tuscia, because you have to explore many different villages to really understand that, particularly in Tuscia, we have many different cultures, even because of different dialects, different traditions, different history, and so every small village is unique. And I say San Martino, of course, because it's absolutely gorgeous, great history, and Donna Olimpia Maidalchini is really a powerful woman in the past that I admire so much, and so I'm so Julia, really proud about that.
So Julia,
yes. Go ahead.
I need to qualify something real quick.
Please.
So when I say hanging out, I don't mean just like sitting down at dinner. Like Julia had arranged for a private tour of the castle and
Bolsena Lake.
yeah.
Bolsena Lake. Yeah.
So
Yes. And it was beautiful.
Yeah.
And so that was, to me, so I consider that hanging out, because we're a small group together enjoying a beautiful place. And believe me, there's no place in Europe that you can go and stand less than 6 inches away from a solid gold plate, a solid gold fork, and go visit the breakfast room, the lunch room, the dinner room, and then see parts of Roman artifacts, Pope art, and it was just unbelievable. And then, of course, you have the lake, but that's just one example. So, so for me, when I say hanging out, I'm not just talking about hanging out at home and enjoying each other's company. I'm talking about seeing those quaint places like Julie was talking about, and enjoying the company of the people you're with, and seeing things that you would never see before anywhere else. Because I've been all over the world and I've seen some unusual things, but the reason why that was the best vacation of my life was because I saw things that nobody else is going to see. And I was standing next to history less than 6 inches away, and you could really reach out and touch it if you wanted to. But I was too scared to do any of that. I didn't want to be that bad tourist.
No, Eric. Let me be very precise. I have been trying to put the accent on this hanging out, because for us, hanging out means we are invited for lunch, we go have lunch, we go home. We are invited for coffee, we meet up, we get coffee, we go home, and so forth and so forth. Typically, there is either liquid or food involved, and we have great times. Like for example, wedding lunches are like 10 hours, 15 hours, and so forth, right? But we don't plan to spend a day with somebody the way you guys hang out, which is fantastic that you guys are telling us, because we don't know what you guys really like, and we would love to spend time with you and be proud of our beauty and our riches and so forth, right? So we really need to know. We really need to hear what you said, because we don't think so.
When we arrived at Bolsena, we toured the castle, we walked through the town, and we walked down to the village, and it was probably one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen. I was just like so taken back, and it was just took my breath away how beautiful it was. And then we got to go out on the boat and spend the day on the lake, and God, it was just like so it was probably one of the best days I've had in probably 30 or 40 years.
Thank you, Eric. You touched my heart.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
We that day together. Yes, that was really one of the best days of my life too.
Sorry to bother you, but we need to speak about this beauty. We kind of neglected. Roy, take a shot. What are we looking at?
I don't know. I've seen a lot of places like that, though. So.
Julia, let's take Roy's comment as a compliment. There are many beautiful medieval spots.
There are. You can, for instance, you can walk from my house in the village, and in 20 minutes, you can be at a 3,000-year-old temple. In 20 minutes, you can walk from here. It's completely, practically unknown. But it's a temple of a goddess, and the goddess, somebody years ago took it from the temple and they put it in the Viterbo. You probably know what I'm talking about. But the temple itself is only 20 minutes a walk from my house through the woods, and it's 3,000 years old. If this was in America, it would be a nationally historical site. You know,
and you have to wait 10 hours to get to it.
Tourists lined up all over the place, and so you can. This happens every time I go to some new town. I'm not, you know, Rita has a hard time getting me to get out of my man cave and go out and do something. But whenever I do, I'm really happy. You know, I go to some new little town and I go, holy smokes, you know. You know, so it's really fantastic. So I don't know what town that was. What was it? Come on, tell me.
Viterbo.
Viterbo.
Roy, next time I'm in Italy, you have got to get out of your man cave. You have to come to Viterbo. Viterbo is very spectacular. It's really
I've been to Viterbo. I've been to Viterbo 50 times, and I've walked the entire town. You know.
And you didn't see that?
No.
Well,
maybe I did.
How about this one?
Oh, of course, we were just there. We were just there. So. Yes, that I know well.
Well, the good thing about the other one I show you is that you need to kind of get lost in this little vicoli, in this little street that are very old, and then you arrive to this place that I love. It's called Piazza San Pellegrino. But in reality, it's precisely what you say, the real feel. You can just walk from any place in Tuscia, and in a matter of few minutes, you find something spectacular that is thousands of years old, unique, whether it's Etruscan or Roman or neo or medieval, and so forth and so forth. So, guys, this is a lot of fun, but I am aware that we have been talking for 50 minutes. I don't think we should go much further.
I have one more thing to say, if you don't mind.
I don't mind at all.
And here's something that's important, is that you have to understand that, you know, America is a very young country compared. And so, you know, our historical monuments and all that are few and far between. And so when you go to Italy or Europe, anywhere in Europe, especially in Italy, there's history on every inch that you walk. You could spend your whole life looking and exploring and never see it all. And I think that's probably one of the most wonderful things to think about. And I think about that all the time, because I'm like, man, there's so much history.
Well, not only we agree, but it's nice to hear that you actually tell us this, because we don't think so. Right, Julia? What do you think? Are we aware of this?
No, we are not so aware, because we are too used to all of these things that we have all around, that sometimes we need Americans come to Italy to see, okay, what is every day in front of our eyes. What do you think, Giulio?
I agree 100%. That is the problem. We are used to it. We literally grew up with it. We don't know this. I don't know, Giulia, if you know this place called Palazzo dei Nini. It's in Viterbo. It's an incredible example of graffiato. It's a very not soft, a very weak technique, so that it's very delicate, that it breaks easily. So around 1400 they did it, and then they stopped. And in Viterbo, there's an example that is 600 years old, and it was completely fine until they put something called discendente that started breaking the stucco. It's ridiculous. And personally, I discovered a few years ago, so I'm almost 60, right? For 50 years, I was not aware. And the reason why I became aware is because they are mistreating it, right? So that's crazy, right? We should do what Roy said. Every corner should be the center of the attention, you know, for people and so forth. But we don't. I don't know why. We're a little bit, we suffer of abundance. There is too much.
Yes, you're right.
Okay,
and that didn't happen.
I said that it's time, but it is my tradition, my personal tradition, that every time I say goodbye, I want something from each of you guys. So I want you guys one thought that came up in your mind in this meantime, as well as one suggestion, whether it's a Tuscia suggestion or a book suggestion or a show suggestion and so forth. So who is ready to give us a conclusive thought? Maybe Eric is ready to go?
All right. So put me on the spot. All right.
Yeah.
I'll try. So I look at, and thank you to my dad, because if he had not met Rita and moved there, I would have never probably known or seen the real Italy and met all my friends. And I truly do love it. It's beautiful. It's a fantastic place to be, and I consider it my second home, and I really do. I love it very much.
Well, we would like for you to move there.
I would like to too.
Your dad is showing you the way.
I'm going to live in my dad's man cave.
I don't know about that. Okay, Roy, are you ready for us? A conclusive thought?
Oh, I guess. I mean, there's, I've been here for 12 years. 1 year back in the States, but other than that, I've been here for 12 years. And I have not gone out enough to experience everything there is to experience. So part of my New Year's resolution is to do that. Now, one of the things that's going on here in Tuscia with several of the local villages is they've created these walking paths from village to village. And I'm not talking about, paved roads where you ride your bicycle or something. I'm talking about, terrific walking paths through some very, in some cases, some very ancient, things. You go through Etruscan, I don't know what you call those when you're walking through, rather than having to walk up the hill. They carved out 2,000 years ago. They carved out the rocks and they went right through
we call them tagliata. That is funny because it's the same name we use for some meat, but it's tagliata.
I know. I had tagliata on Sunday, but so I intend to go out and take advantage of some of these walking tours. You can walk just again in this Tuscia area. You can walk for hundreds of kilometers from village to village, and so. If you're into walking, this is a great walking area. So anyway.
I couldn't agree more, Roy. You are completely right. I am putting underneath the tusciainfiore.it website, where we have a bunch of those cammini. In fact, I just did a video with the people that created the Cammino dei Tre Villaggi from Villa. That is a spectacular one. Those kids are fantastic. And it is part of our plan for Tusciainfiore. We will be talking more about Tusciainfiore, but that's definitely something we want to stress. There are a bunch of cammini or path or walk, whatever, that are simply fantastic because the scenario changes continuously. You never get bored. It's not an open land, that you walk for hours and you get bored. You go through these tagliate or rivers or little monument or ancient ruins and so forth. I completely agree, Roy. Okay, then Julia, your shot. So a suggestion and a comment.
Yes, I agree with Roy, because I have a New Year resolution to discover my area more. I'm used to travel often when I can, of course, all around the world, but sometimes I forget that I should travel more in our land, to discover more. So you showed me a picture and I was not ready to answer because I've never seen that place. So I want to go there and discover that place. And my desire is to do this also with Americans that will come to Italy next year, or the Americans I'm meeting here that are so incredible, so amazing. So I would like really to exchange our culture and to show around the Tuscia area and to enjoy particularly Tuscia and Fiore in April together. That's what I would like to do. That's my New Year resolution, and that's my last thought. And I want just to say that now I have to go because my friends are waiting for me. We are going to Colorado and to celebrate the Thanksgiving Day. So happy Thanksgiving Day, guys. Yeah.
Okay. Finishing with a thought from Laura in Bonn, in Germany. Eric, it's time to plan your next trip to Tuscia.
Definitely. That's
Okay.
right. You are right, Laura.
Okay, you guys, it was a great time. Thank you very much. We will do soon, okay?
Ok.
Yeah.
Giulio.
Bye.
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 Regista,
Ciao.
com'è andata oggi?
Bene, benissimo, come sempre. Ci vediamo alla prossima, Giulio.
Dalla Tuscia